Five seconds remain. Bad dude's banning someone now. The green team's banning someone now. Dire team banned. Radiant team banned. Dire team banned. Five seconds remaining.
You can run it as that support or off lane still. And again, it provides so much for your team. As you mentioned, the team fight potential is great, with great area control, with that burst strike into the epicenter. Even the sandstorm is kind of annoying to deal with nowadays, especially in the laning phase. It does require a fair bit to counteract that spam. It has been nerfed a bit, the mana cost is pretty high, but we still have seen this hero pop in and out, and it still does the job, right? A lot of times you expect a team fight to go wrong, one good initiation from the Sand King really turns it around.
Of course, we'll have to wait for some bans before we get to see where either side is headed. Good to see the Morphling ban coming out, of course, Fnatic. With that Sand King, you never really want to give the Morphling away. Just so annoying to deal with that Morphling with a Pyro Strike. Of course, Batrider will be the ban from RNG. John, I know you had a bit of a rush home. I guess I should ask you while we're waiting for the bans, how was the rush home?
It's pretty trafficked. Not gonna lie, it's been it's pretty heavy traffic. Lots of rain in the area, so cars just piling up along the highway. And that was a diversionary road, so it's supposed to be kind of empty, but filled to the brim. But you do what you can for Dota, Mike.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you back home, by the way, John. Always good. Fnatic, one more ban before you get to see where they're going to be headed with this draft. And they do think about it quite deeply. Because RNG is a team a lot of people aren't too aware about, the Raw Never Give Up. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of them, but you don't get to see them in many DPC events, let alone a major. They are a scary team, though. A lot of really known names with Arfu, Lion M, of course, pretty much everybody in the stack. But you can't underestimate these guys. They do perform some pretty big surprises sometimes. Fnatic, I'm sure, aren't going to be underestimating this team, but to the viewers, of course, just be aware that these guys can pull off some miracles. Nevertheless, Mars was banned by Fnatic. You were saying, John, by the way.
Nah, yeah, it's just that we've watched a lot of RNG before. Maybe not recently. Recently, we've been watching your sister team Royal, of course, in a different tournament. But RNG themselves, they're a solid team. We've watched them for a solid year. They do the work. They have been kind of playing together as that same core stack for a while now, at the very least, if not under the RNG banner. They have been in different teams, I think. I recognize a few of those names as being in the same team together for a while. And RNG does pick up the Shadow Shaman to tie up their supports. Solid pick. You know, it's not going to be exciting, it's not flashy, it's just solid. It's stable, it provides you great single target control, gives you an instantaneous hex that you can really play around with.
Fnatic, they will go for the left track, another very, very strong pick to have. Royal, they will not hesitate. They pick up the Omni Knight straight away, and I do believe this was a very clever pick of theirs, John, because if they do try to run that tri lane again, Omni Knight's one of those heroes where he really doesn't struggle to be in the offlane by himself.
Yeah, I do like this pick from RNG. We have seen this Omni Knight do a lot of work. It combines quite well with its Sven. You already have a very tanky hero in that Sven. Now he's just going to be harder to control, harder to lock down. And it's really going to be hard to burst down all the heroes from RNG with the sheer presence of Omni Knight. Just so much stain, so much to bring in terms of that durability for RNG. And it's really disruptive in that offlane. As you mentioned, you can
worry too much about the snake coming out. Shadow Demon will be the last pickup, so that does kind of indicate a core Sand unless we're seeing a core Shadow Demon, but I doubt it. Still, you mentioned the sniper being banned instead of the OD, which in Royal they can easily pick it up now if they wish to.
I mean, that Shadow Demon does give them a bit more in terms of push, I guess. You can clone up the Medusa quite well. You can disrupt that combination coming out from RNG. You just disrupt them for safety, and maybe you bring enough bodies to force RNG in a bad spot. It is kind of interesting to see that pick, though, which really begs the question, what's on safe lane? Is it the safe lane Lush and off lane Sand King, a mid Medusa? Their lanes are definitely a bit funky.
They definitely are. Find out very soon. Raw never give up. One more pick for them before we get into this game number one. Of course, it is a best of 3 series, so not too much pressure on either side on this game, but you definitely want to try and get that one game ahead if you can afford to. Royal. Not an easy pick. That Medusa going to be a real headache. As well as that, I mean, you look at the draft of Raw Never Give Up, they don't exactly have a great way of, roaming around the map and taking down that Medusa or making it hard for her to farm. "30 seconds left for them."
Really ticking through that reserve. Thinking really hard about that pick. Again, maybe they didn't expect them to go all in with that Medusa. Maybe they don't expect the lanes to be turning out this way. I don't see anything truly unfavorable from what Fnatic's pulled off, though.
Well, they will go for the OD pick, so it took them a while. They were thinking about it. This does make it so Royal do have a bit of a, I don't want to say greedy lineup, because it's not that greedy, but it does make it hard, because how do you catch out Arbed throughout the early... man out?
It really is in this case. So Shadow Shaman and Ancient Apparition have to be active early on. They have to be applying a lot of pressure in that jungle to slow down that Medusa from Abed. Again, we've seen times when you just leave that Medusa alone to farm up. You can't really deal with it. And now the OD is a great response to that. Of course, we talked about the draft, just very straightforward counter pick for RNG. But again, if you give too much space to Medusa, the OD doesn't quite farm as fast as Medusa. The split shot just makes it pretty easy for Medusa to build up, clearing camps quite fast. Astral Imprisonment, of course, it doesn't feel like it's going to be... Slow down that Medusa, plant some really deep wards, and do some work with the AA and Shadow Shaman. Probably once one core has come along as well.